geometric proofs, right? That packet I kind of gave you is going to be like our notes, okay? So we're going to write all our all of our proofs into this packet right here, okay? So
we all write this down.
No, you don't have to worry about writing this down. Okay, yes. Maybe it's not everyone's favorite, okay? But someone in honor said they liked it, so.
Someone, one person.
At least one person likes it, okay? What does that have to do with anything? Okay, so biggest thing is just make sure you're writing down, okay? But we're going to do the first one kind of together, all right? When we're doing these, sometimes they might just not make any sense, okay? But you just have to trust me, and we're going to do example problems together, okay? Because then eventually you guys will be able to figure out those next points, okay? You don't need your computers out, so let's go ahead and put them away. All right. Okay, so here's going to be our first example, all right? This is what you're going to do on your proof. I'm going to write it on the board. Okay, so on your like packet thing, okay, it looks something like this, all right? Go ahead in this big area, draw what it gives us right here. So draw that.
Draw that. I heard from the geometry teacher.
You heard from the geometry teacher? Yeah. Me? Okay, so make sure you draw that out, all right? And hopefully this looks familiar, and hopefully we know how to solve this. Okay, so make sure you draw that out, and then write down what I wrote. I wrote statements and reasons, okay? So write that down just like how I did on the board, okay? Because that's how, do you remember with the algebraic proofs, we had statements and reasons? Hopefully you remember that. Okay, we're going to continue that, okay? It's going to look just like the algebraic proofs that we did, all right? This time it's just going to be geometric, all right? So, when we solve this one, all right, how am I going to set it up to solve? Okay, but don't tell me the values. How would I set it up? By saying the segments. Okay, because if we have an example like this, all right, how would I set this up to solve? Yeah. Okay, but how do I say that as the segments? Don't put the values. So what segment is 4x minus 4? Huh? Yeah. Which is NO. So NO equals, yeah, NM plus MO. Okay? When we are describing this, okay, we have to describe how to solve this, all right? Yes, you guys already know we can equal this to these two added together, but we have to explain why that's possible, okay? So because of that, we can say that NO equals NM plus MO. So this is your first statement. So put a 1, or no, I guess it's not your first statement. Okay. Yeah. The image is your given, right? This one's just a little bit different, but put this as your first statement. Put NO equals NM plus MO. Okay. And our reason, all right, is segment addition postulate. Okay. If you want to abbreviate, you can abbreviate. But does anyone remember when we talked about postulate, what that means? And that's okay if you don't. Okay. But postulate, just think of it as it's like stating the fact. It's stating the truth. Okay. Because we know, all right, we know NO equals NM plus MO, all right, because that's just segment addition, all right, and that's just a postulate because we're just explaining what that means. So it's almost like definition, all right, we're just explaining the segment addition postulate is NO equals NM plus MO, and that's how we solve it, okay? Now, we want to plug in the values next. So now that we described that, we can plug in our values. So if we're explaining it in values, then what are we going to say, James? Yeah, which is?
4x minus 4 equals 2x plus 3x.
Okay, so that's going to be your next statement. All right? Now, would anyone have an idea of maybe what our reason is? What are we doing? We're just plugging them in. Does anyone remember which property?
Addition.
We're not adding them in. We're not subtracting them. We're not distributing them.
Division.
We're not dividing them in. Not transitive.
Put numbers on board. That's just it.
You were about to say it.
It's true.
Okay. It's substitution. All right? So substitution property. We're substituting. So I'm going to put 4x minus 4 equals 2x plus 3x minus 9. And I'm just going to put substitution property, okay? I'm going to, you can abbreviate it, but here's the thing. You got to make sure you at least put SUB like S or SUBST. Because if you just put SUB and abbreviate it as that, then I don't know if you're talking about subtraction or substitution. So I would count it wrong. Okay, so you have to abbreviate it so I can tell what's the difference. Okay, so see how that's substitution? Okay, so again, substitution is we're just plugging it into the equation. Okay, we're just substituting it. All right, so now we can begin to start to solve. So what's the first thing that I need to do to solve? Combine like terms, which was, what was the word that we used for combine like terms? It wasn't a property. Yeah, simplify. Okay, so simplify is your first. We need to add those x's together on the same side. So we got 4x minus 4 equals 2x plus 3x, which is 5x minus 9. All right, that's simplify. All right, I'm just going to put that. Okay. Now what? What's one thing? What can I do next? Okay, there's a couple of different ways we can do this, okay? But I'm just going to do subtraction property and subtract the 4x over, okay? So we subtract that 4x over, we subtract it on both sides, and that gives us negative 4 equals x minus 9. All right, now what do I have to do for my next step? Yeah, add 9 over so we get x equals what? X equals 5. Okay, so I'm going to put. And we added 9, so that's going to be our addition property. Okay? All right. You don't have to worry about writing the of equality. That's okay. All right? But just know it's the property, okay? If you want to abbreviate like this, just feel free, you can do that. Okay? Let's look at the next one. All right, go ahead and draw that in the box that you were given.
Can I not?
You can. Just go ahead and draw it. We've solved those before.
You guys.
It was chapter 1. Okay, so go ahead and get that drawn. All right, make sure you write your statements and reasons box. All right, and then again, typically we're going to write our given. Okay, this time it just gives us an image. Okay, so we're not necessarily going to put a given this time. All right, but pretty much every time we're going to have what's given in the statement and then put given as a reason. All right, so when we are solving this, we are solving for x. How would we set this up? It's just like the segment one. We did this with angles already. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Angle ABD plus angle DBC equals angle ABC. Okay? So he was saying this angle right here plus this angle equals the whole angle. All right? And that whole angle is 8x. Now, what do you think my reason is for this? All right? Look at the reason we had for our last one. What do you think our reason is going to be this time? But are these segments? It's not segments, but what are we dealing with this time? Angles. So what do you think it's going to be? Angle addition postulate. Okay? So that's what we're going to do right there. Okay? So write that as your first statement. All right? These are your statements. All right? These are your reasons. Okay? So the blue is reasons, the statements in black. All right? So make sure you have that. Here's your first statement, first reason. Okay? Do we see how we got that? All right? We're just showing that we need to add those two angles and it equals the whole angle. Statements is always on the left. So below. I'm saying what's below. All right? So now, who thinks they might know what we're going to do for our next step? What? We're not adding them, but what are we doing?
Plugging them in.
We're plugging them in. So what's our property that we use? Substitution. Okay? So do that. Perfect. We're going to substitute those values. So we're going to put the values into our equation, and that's going to be the substitution property. All right? And remember, you don't have to worry about of equality. Just put substitution property. All right? And you can just put SUBS and then prop. Okay? Now, what do we have to do for our next step? Because we got to start solving. So what's our next step? We got to simplify. So we got to add our x's and our numbers together that are on the same side. So we're going to combine our like terms. All right, we're going to simplify. So you should get that. You add those x's together, you get 9x. Then you have 5 minus 16. And that is going to be negative 11. So we have 8x equals 9x minus 11. All right, and that's simplify. Now, when we're solving for our next one, all right, what do we got to do? No, we're not going to add 11. Yeah, we're going to subtract 9x on each side, so that's going to be subtraction property. That gives us negative x equals negative 11. All right, and that's subtraction property. All right, and then finally, is that our answer? We got our answer right there? No, we can't have a negative x, so what do? Divide by negative, so we get x equals what? 11. So division property, x equals 11. Perfect. All right, do we see what we're doing there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like absolutely.
Well, you've done 2, so we got a lot more to go through. Okay? Maybe. All right. Okay. Flip to the next page, and this is going to be our next one. All right. pay attention to what I want you to write. Okay, this is what it says, all right? In your box, you can draw those angles on the right, but in your box, this is what I want you to do. I want you to write the word given, and then put like a colon, and then I'm going to write angle A and angle B are supplementary. And then the measure of angle A equals 45 degrees. So write that. All right. If you don't have room for those angles, you can put it on the side. All right. This is good too. That's good. All right. But you don't have to have the angles, but maybe those angles might help you. Okay. So feel free to write this, but this is what I want you to have down. We can talk about that later. We're talking about math. Okay. So what do you think? All right. What we were just talking about it earlier. Well, what is my first statement going to be? I know it wasn't for the last two. Yeah, Quinn? Not quite. We need to write what we're given. Okay, so I'm literally just going to write that same thing in my first statements box, and my reason is going to be given. Okay, so make sure you write statements and reasons again. Okay, and then put this down as your first statement. All right, and put a 1 beside it. All right, so that helps you. And then put a 1 beside your reasons. All right, so you know that is your first step. Okay, but that's going in your first box. A and B are supplementary. Measure of angle A equals 45 degrees, and that is given. All right, so make sure you get in the habit of always putting that given, because it's easy points right there. Easy points. All right, some of you were not doing that on your test. You missed easy points right there. Sorry? I don't know. There was 50 of you, so I don't know. I just said there was 50 of you. I don't know. Yeah. Can you wait till we're done with this one? Okay. So, now Quinn was on the right track for our next step. When we do these, all right, we should know what supplementary means. What does supplementary mean? Yeah, two angles that equal 180. All right. We are writing this out and we're like explaining it to someone. Okay, so we have to do it like step by step. So we have to explain what supplementary means. Okay, so what angles added together are going to equal 180? Yeah, so we're going to put angle A plus angle B equals 180 degrees. And we're just explaining the definition of supplementary angles. So that's your reason. So just put measure of angle A plus the measure of angle B equals 180 degrees. And that's the definition of supplementary angles. Okay, perfect. So now that we have our equation set up, all right, we are given the measure of angle A, all right, and we're going to have to find the measure of angle B. Okay, so if we already have A, what do you think we're going to do? We're not going to subtract it. What do we have to do? We have to find B. What did you say, Quinn? Yeah, we have angle A, so let's put it into the equation. Let's substitute it in. So I'm going to write 45 degrees plus the measure of angle B equals 180 degrees. All right, and that's going to be substitution property. All right, so I'm just substituting it in so that way we can solve for angle B. Okay. We got one step left. All right, how do we solve? What are we subtracting?
45 on each side.
Yeah, we subtract 45 on each side, so we get the measure of angle B equals what? 135. So measure of angle B equals 135 degrees, and that is subtraction property. All right? What? Another? All right, go quick, Weston. All right, hurry so you can get the next one in. Okay, do we see how we got that? All right, we're just walking it step by step. Okay, we're just explaining it step by step. You did that with the algebraic ones. This just has more words. Okay, so it's the same thing as those algebraic. All right, we just see more words with these. Okay, so let's look at another one. Go ahead, write this one out. All right, but this one has all your statements already. Okay, so right on the top, what you're given. All right, So this one, it says we are given that B is the midpoint of AC. All right, and AB is congruent to EF. All right. And if you notice this one, okay, it's separated the givens. So pay attention to that. But go ahead, write down, these are all your statements. So write all those down. And we're going to solve for the reasons. All right, and if you're working with a pencil, maybe see if you can try to figure this out. You should automatically know 2 of the reasons. So you should automatically know 50% of the answers. All right, make sure you just write the numbers to help you out too on the side. Mm-hmm. And you can just write, you don't have to write this part. Okay.
I can just write given.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, good, but you identified those, so that's perfect. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at this, all right? It says my first step, my first statement says B is the midpoint of AC, all right? How do I know that? It's given, okay, perfect. So what's my reason? Given, all right? You don't have to write given information, you can just put given. Now, my next step, it says AB is congruent to BC, all right? How do I know that? How can I figure that out? Yeah? Yes, B is the midpoint, so midpoint, it's right in the middle, so that tells us if it's right in the middle, this segment is going to be congruent to this segment. So what are we describing? Like, what did we do on that last one with the supplementary angles? We're describing what that word means. So what do you think my reason is? Just definition of midpoint. We're just describing the midpoint. Okay? So you were there. Right? So definition of midpoint, because it just describes what the midpoint is. It describes, okay, those segments are congruent because B is the midpoint. Okay? Yeah. Wait till this one's done. All right, my next one. It says AB is congruent to EF. How do I know that? This is also given, right? This one's separated our givens. This is probably the only time you see the givens separated. Okay? So, all right, we have that. Now we got to figure out our last reason. All right? BC is congruent to EF. All right. Anyone have an idea of how we can figure this out? It is a property. It is. It's transitive. Transitive property. Now, if you don't remember what this is, okay, transitive property was the property that is if A equals B and B equals C, then A equals C. So let's look at it this way. Look, if A equals B, all right, and B equals C, then A equals C. Okay, so this was A, C, those equal because they are both equal to B. All right, just kind of drawing that out, make it a little more sense. All right, you see transitive now, eventually we'll use transitive a lot, especially when we go into some of our angles together. Okay, all right, that's what transitive, yeah. Noah's going. Okay, so that's transitive property. Yeah. Okay, now we're going to go into one that's a little bigger. Okay, this is what I want you to write down. All right, write down the given and the prove, and then I will zoom in on the box. Okay, write down that given. So that says in your box up here, have the word given and have the word prove. Okay, so that given, make sure you write angle 1 and angle 2 are supplementary. I'm just going to abbreviate that. Angle 2 and angle 3 are supplementary. Okay, and we are proving that angle 1 is congruent to angle 3. So I wrote it on the board, write that real quick, and then I'm going to zoom in on that box so you guys can write down everything that it has. So write that given and prove down first. Okay? And then I want you to number your boxes. Just get in the habit of numbering them. All right, with how many steps that we have. Okay. So here's that box. All right. Write down all that stuff that we are given. All right. And we are going to solve for those question marks. Write this down, Keys. Mm-hmm. Oh, you're given the answer? So did you just write them all? This is my favorite part of statistics. I love probability. The odds. Well, that's what this is. Well, that's what a deck of cards is, too. Did you get all this written down? Write at least that down, then you can get the answers with us later.
I used pen and I kept messing up, so I had to scratch it all out.
Why don't you use pencil?
Because I wanted to use my
Get a purple pencil? I don't know. Yeah. Go quick. You already get that written down? Okay. Okay, get all those statements and reasons written down. I will get rid of that. I'm sorry. No, we're solving for that. Put this at the top, and then write down that whole box. Okay, and we're gonna solve for those empty boxes. Supplementary. Yeah. So you can write out supplementary so you know. All right, do we all have that written down? That's not it. Well, you guys are going to get the hang of it though.
Yeah, they are. I mean, yeah.
If you tell yourself you're not, then you're not. Yeah. Huh? I don't know. All right, let's look at this. You can still see it. Well, yeah. Funny, no. You can see it. I know, but you could have waited to go to the bathroom and gone during passing period, so sorry. Okay. Well, it should have been clean before the bell rang, so. Okay, let's look at this. All right, we already have that first. We have everything written down. All right, we need to find the first statement, okay? What do you think our first statement is going to be? What do we always put for the first statement? Well, we're given, so what's our first statement going to be? 1, angle 1 and angle 2 are supplementary, and then what else? Angle 2 and angle 3 are supplementary, okay? So this is your A. All right, that's what you should have for your first statement, so write that down. So angle 1 and angle 2 are supplementary. Okay, now let's look at the next steps and how it got it. Yeah. Okay, so with this, right? What the heck? Someone else connected. Give me a second. All right, you already have them written down. All right, put it away, Austin. Okay, we said that 1 and 2 are supplementary. All right, and then 2 and 3 are supplementary. Okay, if you look at that next statement, it says angle 1 plus angle 2 equals 180, and then angle 3 equals 180. All right, we are just describing, okay, what supplementary means. So that's why that reason is definition of supplementary angles on that second step. Okay, the next part, we have to find our statement 3. Okay, I don't know why. There we go. Okay, so we have to figure out our statement 3. Now, we know our reason is substitution. Okay, so it's saying we could substitute something. Now, if we look at our second statement right there, all right, angle 1 plus angle 2 equals 180, angle 2 plus angle 3 equals 180. If both of those sets equal 180, all right, we can equal them to each other. So your statement 3 is going to be the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 equals the measure of angle 2 plus the measure of angle 3. Because both of those sets of angles equal 180, so we can equal them to each other. All right, and we're just substituting that. All right, so we're just substituting and putting that these two equal each other. okay, because they both equal 180. I know you can see. All right, now that was substitution. All right, if you look at step 4, it says angle 2 equals the measure of angle 2 equals the measure of angle 2. All right, and that's reflexive property. Okay, that was one of the properties we learned with the algebraic proofs. All right, they equal each other. Okay, so we can say that these two equal each other. Okay, because they're both on two different sides. So we can say that they equal each other, and those are going to be reflexive property. Now, the next step, it says angle 1, the measure of angle 1 equals the measure of angle 3. All right? Our reason is going to be subtraction property. All right? And this is because if you subtract the measure of angle 2 on both sides, it gets rid of them, leaving us with just the measure of angle 1 equals measure of angle 3. Okay? So that's subtraction property. All right? We subtracted those measure of angle 2's out. All right, and that leaves us with measure of angle 1 equals the measure of angle 3. Okay? We have to figure out the last statement right here. Okay? Here's the nice thing. All right? We should automatically already know the first statement, the first reason, because how do we automatically know those? The first statement and first reason? Because they're given. We will automatically always know the last statement. Okay? Because the last statement is what you are proving. Okay? So since it tells us to prove that angle 1 is congruent to angle 3, that is going to be our last statement. Please know that. A lot of my honors kids are missing this. It's the easiest point that you can get. Whatever you are proving, all right, this is your last statement. Okay, like we said, the givens are always the first. What you prove is always your last. Okay, so you should automatically get 3 points right there because you already know you're given it. All right, so you can plug that all in right away. All right, and then you just got to figure out those other little steps. Okay, whenever we have two angles are equal to each other, and we have to say that they're congruent to each other, that's just definition of congruent angles. Okay, because if they're congruent, then we could say that they're equal. Okay, and now that's why that is the last reason. Okay, we're just going from equal to congruent. All right, Vanessa, put it away. Okay, do we have any questions about today? Okay, I know it just seems like a lot, all right, but we'll do some examples. But the biggest thing that you just have to pay attention to is whenever we'd have a quiz or a test over this, the only thing that I do to make it different is you will have this proof on one of them, but I will just say angle 3 right here, angle 4 right here, okay? And then I would say this is angle 4, and then this is angle 5. All right, and you have to prove that angle 3 is congruent to angle 5. Okay? You would be doing the same exact steps. The only thing that changes is these angles. Okay? So you have the packet, and instead of just having it in your notes or doing this packet of proofs, because you can just use this packet to study. All right? And this is how you can practice. If you want to practice on your own, you could literally just change the numbers and then do the whole proof yourself. All right? Make sure that you're following those steps correctly. Okay? So just know that. That's the only thing, and that's the main thing I only change on your tests and quizzes. Okay? So when you study for these, all right, you'll use this packet to help you study. Okay? Because there's no proofs in Delta Math, so I can't just give you Delta Maths to study with. All right? That's why we're going to do a lot of examples on this packet, and we're going to work on it together. Okay? So a lot of the next days, we're going to be working together on problems. Okay? All right, that will be it for today.